And we won't ignore what our intelligence agencies have determined to be the most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today. White supremacy is terrorism.
All white people are racist. So I put this up because
when you're white, you don't know what it's like to be living in a ghetto. You don't know what it's like to be poor. You don't know what it's like to be hassled when you walk down the street.
I think that white people are committed to being villains in the act.
To be white in so many ways is to be raised to be functionally illiterate on the topic of race.
Christine, Laura, what you're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah, we in Wisconsin.
My name is Robert Rundo. I report from Media to Rise. In this episode, we head to the state of Wisconsin to report on America's most recent deadly terror attack.
Today's tragic incident occurred on November 21st, 2021 at 4:39 p.m. at Gasper Avenue and Main Street. The Waukesha Christmas Parade was taking place when a red SUV drove through the barricades westbound, heading down Main Street. The vehicle struck more than 20 individuals. Some of the individuals were children, and there were some fatalities as a result of this incident. We will not be releasing information on fatalities at this time while we are working on notifying the family members of the deceased.
Luca Corgia with Media to Rise. We are currently driving out to Waukesha, Wisconsin, where the most recent anti-white terrorist attack has just happened. We're going to be teaming up with the national-justice.com to kind of cover the story. So right now what's going on, the mainstream media is pretty much sweeping under the rug all of the facts that are boldly present in the case. The suspect, Darrell Brooks, has a lengthy criminal record. He also has a long history of anti-white rhetoric, and the mainstream is not covering this. They're not putting out the racial narrative of the crime, of the attack. We're going to be knocking on doors, we're going to be making calls, and we're going to try to make a wave to expose what's really going on with this case. So let's get to work.
There's two citizens with me on Hartwell and White Rock saying that there's a fight in progress at the boat launch at Frame Park with possible knives involved, and they would like some assistance. 102, I'm by the Rotary building in the baseball diamond. There's nothing here. Maroon Ford escapes with blue White Rock and Hartwell heading into the parade road. There's a car going westbound pushing parade course on a red escape, black male. I couldn't stop it. He's going westbound, blowing his horn.
Brooks in his red SUV would speed past police barricades to where crowds of families were cheering on the parade. That is until Brooks used his SUV to plow through the celebration, zigzagging wildly through the streets, with the aim to kill as many white people as possible.
Stuck in my mind this image of the driver who was looking straight ahead, looked like he had one hand on the wheel, very focused, stoic, not alarmed like you would think if this was an accident. These are kids, this is our community, and how could someone do that? I don't understand.
In the wake of Brooks' rampage, he left 62 people injured, most of them critically. He also killed 6 people, with the youngest being an 8-year-old boy that died a few days later from his injuries. All of those murdered that day were white, just as Brooks had hoped for. Darrell Brooks' motivation for the attack has remained a mystery, or even worse, has been covered up with a narrative of a botched escape attempt. So to find out about his motivation, we first wanted to find out who Brooks was.
History begins in 1999 at age 17 when he pleaded guilty to inflicting bodily harm. He has pleaded guilty, been convicted, and done time for drug violations in gun cases, domestic violence, and endangering safety, including obstructing police.
Darrell Brooks, who would go by his rap name Math Boy Fly, would use his music platform to make terroristic threats and espouse black supremacist lyrics to his audience.
That Malcolm X shit, revolutionary. This for my niggas in the can eating commissary. For every ghetto in America, I know they wait. This that fuck Donald Trump flow. And whoever.
When going through Darrell Brooks' social media, it was clear to tell what kind of ideology motivated him to commit such an attack, as it was full of black supremacist rhetoric and even calls for violence against white people. Shockingly, none of this was reported in the media.
Darrell Brooks was freed from jail on $1,000 bail just days before the Waukesha holiday parade.
And today we learned key details of that hearing have been lost seemingly forever. Fox 6 investigator Brian Polson in the studio to explain. Brian?
Ted and Mary, Milwaukee DA John Chisholm called the bail his office recommended for Darrell Brooks just days before the parade inappropriately low. So why did Court Commissioner Cedric Cornwall go along with it? We wanted to know, so we asked for a transcript of the hearing. And today we learned it doesn't exist.
The narrative the authorities concocted to explain why Brooks was allowed back out on the street was said to be a technical error or oversight. With just a little bit of research, it becomes crystal clear that his release was a desired outcome of a well-funded network of left-wing activists posing as bail reformers and bail disruptors. Among this network is DA John Chisholm, the attorney who oversaw Brooks' bail hearing. Chisholm's record shows that he lets out 65% of felons without bail or only light bail. This is most likely due to his membership in the radical left-wing NGO Measures for Justice, which is funded by Jewish billionaire George Soros through his Open Society Institute. This is just a tiny link in the chain that binds these far-left networks that supposedly aim at fighting for racial justice by letting out black violent criminals onto the street under the guise of bail reform.
They said, we hate it when you bail out these sex offenders, was exactly what they said.
Greg Lewin is the group's executive director.
I often don't even look at a charge specifics when I bail someone out. I'll see it after I pay the bail because it's not the point. It's just that it is not the point. The point is the system that we're fighting.
Prior tax returns show in a good year they pull in about $100,000 in donations. But after the police killing of George Floyd and supportive tweets from Hollywood celebrities, they've now received more than $35 million in contributions.
One of the organizations in this network that illustrates the connection between Brooks, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, NGOs, and elected officials is the Bail Project. One of the Bail Project's employees, Holly Zoller, is an Antifa extremist who was caught on video distributing weapons and other supplies out of the back of a rented U-Haul truck to Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioters. The same Holly Zoller, the one who led the fundraising drive to get Brooks back out of prison and on the street after killing 6 people. There are many such cases of the Bail Project orchestrating the release of a violent black criminal who only goes back out to the street to victimize an innocent white person.
He got out in part because of the Bail Project.
All of these organizations are tied together through money, ideology, and ethnic networking and are the reason why situations like the Waukesha terror attack exist.
All right, Monday morning, 9:01 a.m., making our first call.
The team placed calls to officials to find out why the court records have gone missing and to find out if any NGOs had played a part in Brooks getting back out on the street.
If you would like to speak with staff, press 2.
Good morning, Officer Governor Tony Evers. How can I help you?
Good morning. My name is Trey Garrison. I'm a reporter with NationalJustice.com. And I'm in town in Waukesha anyway, working on a story on the last week's tragic parade crash. And I was hoping to set up a time, whether on the phone or in person, to speak to Governor Evers about this.
And I'm so sorry, you cut out in the beginning. Are you talking about the Waukesha parade incident?
Yes, the parade incident.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'll be taking your contact information to pass on to our communications department. Could you give me your email address? And can you give me one more time the outlet you're calling from? You said National Justice. I missed the last part.
.com. NationalJustice.com.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to pass this on to our communications department. We'll most likely be calling the Senate office. Your Bradley's office. This is Christian. How can I help you?
Hi, Christian. My name is Trey Garrison. I'm with NationalJustice.com. I'm in town working with a film crew on a documentary on last week's the Waukesha car attack. We're working on a story on the Waukesha parade attack. Good morning. My name is Trey Garrison.
We are currently busy helping other Wisconsinites. If you'd like to leave a message, please do so.
Certainly. So should I plan on maybe calling you tomorrow morning?
We're in Milwaukee right now, which is about 30 to 40 minutes away from Waukesha. We wanted to get kind of a little bit of feel of the city here before we head over to Waukesha. Report hate crimes, 1-800. Call media to rise. They want the community to report hate crimes, but I wonder if they would, take a call on the recent Waukesha hate crime as a valid crime.
Dean gets an address from a relative of Daryl Brooks, so they head over to the house in hopes to speak with them and get more insight into who Brooks is.
Daryl Brooks' mother. So we're hoping that she'll be open to talking to us. Tell us a little about his background, how active he is with BLM, what other psychiatric issues he may have.
Why'd you guys go around back? It says, please use side door. We knocked on both and no answer. Do we have numbers to try and call?
Yeah.
In the build-up to the Rittenhouse case, the media narrative constantly focused on how far Kyle traveled, which was claimed to prove his intention to commit violence. But the same media failed to mention that Brooks drove the same exact distance as Rittenhouse when he left his home in Milwaukee to head over to Waukesha.
So something that occurred to us while we were investigating the scene is that Brooks' mother's house, where he was living at the time, is 30 to 40 minutes away from Waukesha. So the attack started at around 4:39 p.m., which is 40 minutes after the parade started. So this is a man who has spent years espousing his hatred for white people and also his support for the Black Lives Matter movement. And he just randomly shows up in the area in the same amount of time it takes for him to get from his mother's house to Waukesha. I'm just not buying that. Trey, what are we doing?
It is Thursday. We have put in calls to the mayor every day, just about. And he hasn't even given us the courtesy of a declining response. This is Mayor Sean Riley. So we're just going to go in there and see if he wants to talk about what happened in his community. I mean, why wouldn't he? I mean, what's more important right now than...
Since no one responded to our calls on why the court transcripts were missing or if there was any outside interference from nonprofits, the team looked for answers by going to the officials' offices.
Oh, hey, we're trying to see a mayor.
Yeah.
Sean Reynolds?
Yeah.
I called, I left a couple messages, but I never heard back from you. Dr. Miracle, crew, we're in town doing a...
What's your name?
Trey Garrison.
Yeah, not interested.
What? Why's that?
I decide which interviews to do.
Well, of course, but I mean, there's nothing more important. But sir, I just wanted to find out...
Didn't want to talk.
Didn't want to talk at all, or even tell us why you didn't want to talk. Some amazing leadership here in Waukesha.
Hi there, how can I help you?
Hi, we're here to see Chief Thompson.
Okay, what's your name?
Trey Garrison. He's out of town for the next 2 days. Is that what? I'm sorry, the traffic. I couldn't hear you good.
Yeah, he's not in the office the next 2 days.
With a constant media bombardment of misinformation and no one willing to speak with us, they decided to head directly to the prison and speak with Brooks themselves.
Yes, that's right, Andrea. You know, the motives for violent crime, these are my own motives I've developed over the many years, is greed, revenge, hate, power, and escape. Those are the 5 major motives for violent crime. This is escape. So this motive is a criminal escaping justice. So is that maybe he was in a fight, a knife fight, an altercation, or a stabbing. Well, I've been to stabbings, and I'm telling you, they're very bloody events. And the perpetrators or the participants often have blood all over them, even if it's coming from a victim they stabbed, or they may get cut themselves if it's a knife fight.
The main reason. Okay, cool, man. So like the main reason that we wanted to come talk to you, you know, we're not particularly interested in the case. We're more interested in you. Obviously, you have, you know, it's like I said, we kind of just wanted to, you know, touch base with you and you know, not a lot of people are covering you. They're kind of flipping it and making it about something else.
Right, and what's crazy about that whole thing is I haven't been able to even, you know, follow what's going on because, like I said, I'm locked down 24 hours a day. So that just amazed me that, you know, people are even, you know, bringing that up. You know, one thing that I think one of the mental health people asked me is, have I been able to follow what's going on? And I'm like, I don't even know. You know, I just know that there's a lot of media attached to what's going on. And
well, I guess so. The one thing that they're saying is that you were fleeing some. Excuse me. They were saying that you were fleeing some kind of maybe a knife incident or some type of crime before the, you know, the parade incident happened. I guess, is that true?
I don't even.
Okay, so you weren't fleeing. You didn't, you know, you weren't involved with a knife incident that morning or something?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Yeah, so that, I mean, you know how the news is. There's a bunch of different places out there that are trying to, you know, make up, trying to flip the script, I guess, and, you know, push out a bunch of garbage. But I don't know, man. That's another thing why we wanted to talk to you. You know, we wanted to get your side of the story.
Absolutely.
I mean,
the music is that being like
I wouldn't say so. It's just being brought up that you're a rap artist, and they're kind of like showing clips of your music videos. So I don't know what exact kind of connection they're trying to make with it, or if they are, but it's definitely getting a lot of attention, just being put out in all the media and stuff. So, I mean, is there something within your music that, they could say this has something to do with?
When you just brought it up, it was my first time even hearing about,
Hey man, we've got 30 seconds here, but I'm gonna try to come in and speak with you some more tomorrow.
I do think it's really a big thing that we got him to say. He doesn't remember getting up that day. He doesn't remember what he did that day. He speculated that he went to or he watched like a Green Bay Packers game or something like that.
Yeah.
But he specifically can tell you there was no knife fight. There's no knife fight, and that was made up by the media.
For the second time today, we're going to see what he has to say. So let's hope that he's feeling talkative again.
So, inside pocket here, straight through, right?
No, he doesn't want to see anybody right now? Alrighty. Okay. Alright, bye. He didn't have a visit again, but he said he thought about it, and he said no, he doesn't want to see anybody.
Okay.
So I don't know if that.
Alright, so as we got back from visiting the jail and visiting Waukesha, back to Milwaukee, this story broke on Fox News. You're going to be surprised to hear that Darrell Brooks has not spoken to anybody this week. Luca? The headline is Waukesha parade suspect Darrell Brooks says he feels demonized in first jailhouse interview. Darrell Brooks spoke to Fox Digital News on Wednesday in Waukesha County Jail. This is who we suspect now is who spooked him. It wasn't the lawyers like we thought or some Antifa activists or something. It was morons from Fox News.
Despite our journalists visiting Brooks and getting enough trust that he gladly invited us back for a second interview, which we planned on using to get to the real details of what motivated him, our plans were unfortunately cut short when the same mainstream media reporters that put out the cover-up story of Brooks fleeing the knife fight showed up before us. It is unclear what the reporter told Brooks during their chat, but what was clear was that after the visit, Brooks abruptly changed his mind and no longer wanted to speak with us.
One thing we understood was that many actually knew Brooks' motivation and did all they can to cover it up and keep it a secret.
Is this Trey?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Trey. This is Terry Dietrich calling. I'm the chairman of Waukesha County Republican Party.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I got your name, I don't know, from our executive director in the office. Somewhere she came across it. So I thought I would give you a call because I think you've been a bit active in Waukesha, et cetera, with regard to, the tragedy that happened, and you're representing some type of a group, I understand.
Yes, sir. We're it's a media company. We're doing a documentary on last week's tragic parade attack. Do you feel like the charges that have been brought are appropriate, or should it be enhanced with like hate crime charges or domestic terrorism charges? Or
well, first of all, we're in a very conservative county. What the district attorney decides to do as far as charges and additional charges and hate crimes, we believe very much in our system of justice, and therefore we're not interested in going out in the press and saying what we think should happen or will happen. We let the process take care of itself because we have confidence in it. I haven't gone and read all of the description and the actual legal text of what a hate crime is defined as in the state. I'm glad you brought it up because maybe I should go and educate myself a little bit more. And I'm not a lawyer. And having said that, I think you can interpret whether people would believe it's a hate crime. I don't know why you wouldn't think that it would be, based on the fact such a unrestricted way, just, randomly to kill people. I mean, but I don't know the actual law as it's stated to be a hate crime, so I'd have to look at that. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is the guy admitted in his rap songs and in his posts on Facebook and his communication, which is all there, although the mainstream media won't even say his name, much less publish what the guy has been talking about. I mean, he's very clear that he wants to kill white people. So, I mean, I don't even know why, if anybody who's sane and wants to look at this whole thing in the truth, the evidence based in the truth, this guy hates white people, and he wanted to kill them. And there's numerous cases about him bragging about the fact that we're going to do it, and that he was all in favor of everything that BLM was doing. And then the guy from BLM, I guess it is, I can't remember his name, the guy in Milwaukee said, this is the start of the revolution, and almost, thank this guy. We're still in a point of grieving in this county.
Of course.
And to have a Republican leader come out, the number one Republican leader come out and start talking about whether this guy was a racist or whether white supremacist and whatnot. I mean, I am of the firm belief that we will have time to talk about that. We are going to. We are not going to shy away from it at all. But I want to let the criminal justice system and our law enforcement do their job. And I support what you're doing, but I think it would be inflammatory for me right now. Maybe in a couple of weeks it's a different story, but right now I think it'd be inflammatory for me to come out.
Terry Dietrich is a minor GOP official, but his talking points come from the very top echelons of the Republican Party. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson repeated the same line on a December 1st town hall meeting when a Wisconsin resident asked him if he was going to demand federal hate crime charges against Darrell Brooks.
I'm not a big supporter of federal hate crimes, and when you murder.
Despite his claim that he opposes federal hate crime laws, on April 22, 2021, Johnson voted for the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, a bill which was pushed by the Jewish interest organization, the Anti-Defamation League. It seems Johnson only opposes federal hate crime laws when the victims are white.
But in a very interesting development, two Wisconsin senators on both sides of the aisle are asking lawmakers to not politicize this parade attack. Republican Senator Ron Johnson, along with Democrat Tammy Baldwin, issuing a joint statement on Sunday calling on outside groups and individuals to cease and desist in exploiting this tragedy. And that got my attention, absolutely. And so we wanted to bring on our friend Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson to talk about this, one of the two that made that statement. And, sir, thank you for coming on. Good to see you again.
Well, Rob, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, sure. Tell us why come out with this statement? What exactly are you aiming for here?
Well, first of all, we've been in contact with officials in Waukesha, attended the interfaith prayer rally, or prayer gathering. Yeah. And so we understand the pain that Waukesha is going through. And we were made aware by officials that they were hearing potential of outside agitators coming in, stirring up trouble, possibly protesting on both sides of the political spectrum. And we were just trying to head off of the path.
We're out here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. The National Justice Party is out here doing a picketing demonstration in response to the recent anti-white terrorist attack.
The day will come where we cannot run, when the darkest phase of the war is done. We'll find our place and fight.
We're here at the Waukesha County Courthouse because last weekend a vicious black terrorist named Darrell Brooks, who was incited by the anti-white media, plowed into a crowd of people at a Thanksgiving and Christmas Day parade.
Show how we make God.
Thanksgiving weekend. Everyone is at home with their families right now. Yet you're out here in the freezing cold demonstrating in front of the courthouse. Why is this so important to be out here right now?
I don't know why people don't think that this is like everybody's kid who was killed. This is everybody's grandmother who was killed. People that were maimed. And white people have to start thinking like that. Blacks, George Floyd, a criminal, dies from a drug overdose, a career criminal, while he's being arrested. And blacks all over the world make it like he's one of them, you know? We need to do that. We need to be an attack on one white person anywhere is an attack on
Those
all
are
of
probably like.
and that's the way the Jews act. That's the way blacks act. That's the way we got to start thinking. So it's like you can't just be like, oh boy, I'm glad it wasn't my kid. I'm glad it wasn't my grandmother. No, it's like that could have been them. And we got to stand up. And I think that's what we're trying to do here today is be an example.
Our goal for making this documentary is not just to keep the record straight or shine a light on the hidden agendas and lies surrounding the attack, but to illustrate that although Brooks drove that SUV alone, he was incited to do so by an increasingly anti-white agenda that is being cultivated in every aspect of the Western world. From immigration policies to critical race theory to repugnant mantras such as abolish whiteness. All of these serve as the inspiration for attacks like Waukesha. While there is certainly time for solemn prayer and grieving, the only way to stop brutal attacks like this is not to place hope in a corrupt system, and instead only to place hope in organizing around our own communities and, more importantly, organizing around our own people. As stated earlier, although Brooks drove that SUV alone, he was incited to do so by many players behind the scenes that might as well have been in the vehicle with him at the day of the attack.
The day will come where